Mm, it's complicated because it's not exactly something that I can share at this point, but basically over the past month I have been manic, and it was probably the biggest manic episode I've ever been through in my entire life, and I am just now getting out of it, which is why I'm back on YouTube. But during my manic episode, this is what happened. This is pretty funny. So, I met Justin, my boyfriend, on Instagram, and he messaged me just like any other one of you, just like, supportive messages and like oh, what is a manic episode? Um, a manic episode is so for me, I can't really say I can't really say like a good overarching definition for mania, but for me, it looks like booking a bunch of plane tickets and then going to places without knowing what I'm going to do and feeling like super suicidal, and I can't sleep normally, and I just have to be constantly doing something. But for me, that's not anything productive. Like, nothing that I do while I'm manic is productive. Everything that I do while I'm manic is not adding on to my life. It is actually subtracting because it took away a lot of my money, um, which is supposed to pay for my hospital debts, but whatever. um, so yeah. Okay, so for the past month, I've been manic, and at first it looked like not being able to sleep, and I was actually like, if I were not manic, I would have been very content with my life back when I was at my grandparents' place and I had a job. I was teaching English and I had a normal routine. I had a daily schedule. I was reading through all of my Instagram messages from all of you. I was posting YouTube videos. I was going to yoga class. I was doing all this stuff. And then I reached like this weird level of mental illness that I didn't I didn't know existed for me, and I basically I basically became very reckless, and yeah, recklessness, that's a very big symptom of mania. Whew. All right. So, after all that fiasco and lots of spending money and lots of making people worry, I am back in Korea and I am going through a process of recovery, which looks like basically stabilization. This is what hospitals try to do for you when you are like in the deep depths of mental illness, when you're super, super sick and you have to go to the hospital when you get to that point. They want to do is be able to stabilize you on something so that you're not suicidal or like you're not going to self harm. That's all they want to do. And that's all I'm focusing on right now because that is like, honestly, this is a full time job. If you have a mental illness, you are really living like a very hard life because, yeah, you have to be your own nurse, you have to be your own doctor, you have to be your own therapist. I already have three jobs. Hey. So when people tell you that you're depressed, you're not doing anything, you're so unproductive, you're living such a meaningless life, I would say that you are not, and you are actually probably just as productive as anybody else just by being mentally ill. Sickness is a very time consuming and energy consuming thing. Okay. So for we're going through a we're going through a really weird um transition in our system. I can't exactly say that we're integrating, but I think we're starting the process of integrating. Like, um, I'm Jess. None of the alters come out anymore because we all decided together that it's not a good idea for us to be so separated and distinct and um like decentralized. Like if you look at history and stuff, usually civilizations thrive when the system is centralized. I think that I've been referring to myself as me and I instead of we and us. This is a pretty big step. Um, I think I would have liked it if the alters were able to get to. I wish you guys got to know the alters more individually before I started integrating, but hey, life happens, and when life gives you lemons, you have to eat it and make the best out of it and enjoy it. So, yeah, everybody agreed that integration is the best choice that we have for now, especially with all the therapists and psychiatrists agreeing that integration is probably the best solution to this particular mental illness. Um, so, kind of going off of the whole integration thing, been, I think, I'm still not sure whether the manic episode caused the integration thing or the integration thing caused the manic episode, but either way, it happened around the same time, and it's kind of like being dumped with a whole bunch of like work. This is a lot of work. Um, yeah, it's a lot of work. And I just want to be able to say things, at least on YouTube, in a more detailed manner instead of saying things vaguely like life is hard or mental illness is a bitch. Instead of saying stuff like that, I want to say this is the stuff that I've been going through, and it can look different for everybody else, but this is my personal experience. And I hope that maybe you guys can relate or learn or something, and maybe find encouragement from this, that I'm just another human and I'm going through a pretty rough time. And over the last month, I think a big part of depression for me is lack of hygiene. And this is probably something that a lot of people don't want to talk about because it's very embarrassing, but it's just the way it is. So I'm just going to say it. Depression for me looks like not showering for days and not getting out of bed and barely eating and barely talking. And even though I want to be able to like just function normally and like exercise and brush my hair and brush my teeth and stuff, like I just can't because my body just it won't move. And it's just out of your control. Like if let's say you got in a car accident and you broke